For this project, I chose Washington Courthouse, Ohio as my community. It's an 8.85 square mile city that's located between Cincinnati and Columbus, with a population of 14,200 citizens. I chose this community because this is where I was born and raised, and most of my family still lives there today. Some of the strengths for the community include rehabilitation and treatment centers for substance abuse, parks and community recreational activities, and local healthcare options. Some of the weaknesses of the community include substance abuse, mental health, and access to healthcare due to transportation. For the problem that I chose as the priority problem is the increased risk of hospitalization and/or death among Washington Courthouse residents related to substance abuse, as evidenced by Fayette County being the second highest death rate due to overdoses in Ohio. The goal that I had for this project was to decrease the number of hospitalizations needed due to substance abuse. For my objectives, I wanted to increase the awareness of recovery resources among those suffering with addiction. I also wanted to decrease the need for Suboxone clinics for long-term treatment plans. For the interventions, I want to pair up with local recovery centers to get handout information on the centers. I would then like to set up a table where there's a lot of foot traffic for the information on the centers. I also want to order small items to hand out to people when discussing the information to draw them in. For my other intervention, I want to go out into the community and educate people on the pros and the cons of Suboxone and how easily it can be abused just like any other substance. I would want to then educate on how the medication should be taken and compare that to how it's often used. I want to also educate on alternative treatment plans such as counseling and group meetings that are local in the community. Some resources that I would need to pair up with is recovery centers, support groups, and recovery programs such as 12-step programs, counselors and therapists, and then we also need access to the public parks and libraries to get the information out. For my evaluation, to evaluate my interventions, I want to do surveys of the general public that determine the awareness of the population before and after the intervention is implemented, and I also want to monitor the overdose statistics to see if the intervention is appropriate. For another intervention, I want to use quizzes of the public to test the knowledge of the use of Suboxone treatment and alternative treatment methods before the intervention is implemented. So, conducting my research on the community, I learned that the community has many resources available for addiction that most citizens are unaware of, and I also learned how important community nursing truly is.